Have you ever noticed that you tend to experience suffering in similar situations? Maybe you failed an exam because you couldn't handle the pressure, or you struggle to stick with anything that requires perseverance and you don't do as well as others. It's like you've woven your own web of limitation, trapping yourself within it. You might think you've lived for decades, but in reality you've only lived a single day on repeat. To truly live the rest of your life, you need to break free from these restrictive patterns of thinking. But how can you do that? Let's look at a real-life example to illustrate the point. A friend's child attends a boarding school. Recently, the child called home again, crying to their mother about not wanting to go to school anymore. The mother didn't know how to handle the situation, so she said, "Okay, we'll talk about it when you come home." Allow me to change the subject for a moment. When you encounter a problem you don't know how to solve right away, what should you do? If you haven't yet developed the awareness to catch yourself in that moment, the best approach is often to pause and let things settle. As the saying goes, time is a great healer. Taking a break can prevent you from acting out of pure emotion. You can simply say, "Okay, let's discuss this later." In many cases, when a child says they don't want to go to school, it's not that they genuinely don't want an education. It's more likely a fixed mindset, a pattern of thinking that leads them to extremes whenever their emotions are triggered. It's like when couples argue and immediately threaten divorce or storm out to stay with friends or family. Or when people regret getting married after every disagreement. It's the same underlying issue. In this case, whether the child attends school or not is not the most important thing. There are paths for going to school and paths for not going. As long as the heart has strength, any path can be navigated. One's success in life is not absolutely tied to school attendance, but rather to having a renewed sense of energy and perspective. If this child's pattern of running to extremes whenever emotions arise doesn't change, how will their future life unfold? If they're prone to threatening breakups or divorce every time emotions run high, they'll struggle to accomplish much of anything, always defaulting to the worst-case scenario. So, what's the solution? Since negative emotions trigger this child's extreme choices, the root issue is learning to process emotions properly. As the wise saying goes, deal with the emotions first, then deal with the situation. Emotions and circumstances are two separate things. More often than not, once the emotional charge dissipates, the issue itself dissolves. Most people never learn to separate emotions from situations, mistakenly believing that anger, resentment, and anxiety are justified solutions. This is a huge mistake. How can we process emotions effectively? Not through intellectualizing, but through conscious awareness. When you notice yourself getting emotional, like wanting to declare you don't want to go to school, simply pause and be aware of that impulse. Recognize that it's your old programming trying to take control again. Stay present with that awareness. Don't act on it. If possible, you can close your eyes and focus on your breath. Before long, the emotional charge will weaken, and you'll return to a calmer state. This act of conscious pause is like putting the brakes on your fixed mindset. Once the emotion passes, you won't be compelled to make declarations about not wanting to attend school. Each time you catch yourself in awareness, you weaken that restrictive pattern. Over time, your skill at conscious awareness will become more natural and effective. Eventually, you may even foresee emotional triggers before they arise, utterly dismantling those limiting patterns of thought. Another common fixed mindset is the tendency to prolong one's own suffering. For instance, constantly regretting things you've said in the past, only to repeat those same mistakes in similar situations, or finding yourself stuck in a cycle of distress, like compulsively checking your phone even when you know you should stop. You recognize the behavior is causing you imbalance, yet you can't break free from that pattern. This is the very definition of a fixed mindset or deep-rooted habit. The solution again is conscious awareness. When you find yourself stuck in a cycle like endlessly scrolling on your phone even though you know you should stop, don't fight against that urge, as it only fuels the emotional charge within you. In the past, you may have tried tactics like placing your phone out of reach or going to sleep early, but those external solutions seldom work because they don't address the root issue, the fixed mindset itself. This is an internal process, so external solutions have little lasting impact. Instead, practice conscious awareness. When you notice yourself stuck in imbalance, pause and simply observe that awareness itself, without trying to immediately solve the external problem. Be patient with yourself throughout this process, as urgency stems from an inflated sense of ego. Don't expect instant transformation. Let true growth unfold according to its own natural rhythm. The principles you're learning may make sense intellectually, but embodying them takes practice. The key is that you now know the proper direction. With that awareness, you can let go of urgency. Life itself is the training ground for liberation. Suffering arises from fixed mindsets. Once your mind settles into balance, those limiting patterns dissolve at the core. As Napoleon famously stated, the person who can control their emotions is mightier than the military leader who conquers cities. You have the power to break free from suffering and live with unshakable poise. Approach this journey with patience, self-compassion, and an unwavering commitment to conscious awareness. Every moment is an opportunity to loosen the knots of your limiting beliefs. Celebrate each instance of conscious choice, for it is these spaces of freedom that will allow your most radiant life to blossom. You absolutely possess the inner strength and wisdom to shatter any self-imposed limitations that have been holding you back. There will be moments when old habits and mindsets stubbornly reassert themselves. When that happens, don't fight or resist. Simply pause, breathe, and recognize those patterns for what they are. Remnants of a way of living that has outlined its usefulness for you. Smile at the antics of the mind, and then redirect your energy towards what really matters. Living with unbridled authenticity, courage, and love. As you continue practicing conscious awareness and aligning your thoughts and actions with your highest values, you will begin to untie the knots of limitation that have kept you stuck for so long. Day by day, choice by choice, you are rediscovering the brilliant radiance that has been within you all along. Trust that this light is guiding you towards the spectacular life that is your birthright. Have patience and take it one step at a time. There's no need to control or force the process. Your dedication to presence and truth is more powerful than you can imagine. All the creativity, wisdom, and joy you could possibly want is available to you in this very moment. You just need to let go of everything that isn't truly you. I have unwavering faith in your ability to fully embody the insights we've explored here. You were born to live with freedom, courage, and unshakable confidence in the miracle of your own being. The path is opening before you. Now it's up to you to walk it with an open heart and mind. The world is blessed to have spiritual warriors like you who are committed to actualizing heaven on earth through your daily thoughts and actions. Journey well, my friends. Until next time.